Welcome reading 4. I was actually kind of excited to do this because there's just been so many cool, magical, cool, witchy things that have been like happening ever since I started putting your reading together. Baba, my familiar, is getting all antsy. Literally, as I closed the portal on reading 3 and I was like, okay, and I was like calling you guys in, and I get up and I look and there was a deer, and I was like, oh my gosh. So right out the gate, work with the deer spirit medicine. Hold on, I gotta let Baba out. Okay, sorry about that. As you know, Baba, when she gets a hold of something, she'll just keep going like a dog with a bone. She wouldn't like that reference. Anyway, if you notice, there's nothing there. Just the card and the candle. Also, I've found that a lot of times on my channel and other channels that the last reading tends to be for those who are walking the walk and talking the talk, or at least trying their damnedest to get there. So the reason why you don't have any crystals or stones or anything there, no, nothing, is because it's time for you to clear away the clutter. I've been getting this download myself, so I feel like this reading is, there's always messages for all of us in all the readings, right? Even if it's just for 1 second, just to give us good advice, you know what I mean? But no, honestly, I feel like it's time for you guys to get serious. Also, when I just looked down, it was 131. And before, when I was getting this ready, I kept seeing derivatives of 13 and 31, like, the mirrored 13 is 31. So also my throat chakra, every reading has felt really tight. Drink water. I'm hearing to take good care of yourself. Self-care is on the menu. For some of you, the reason why your intuition is blocked is because you don't have enough of what you need around you to sustain you. Now, the intuition is about the third eye, right? So I'm going to pull this card forward and we'll see what Spirit has to say. Okay. So intuition. It says, you hold the answers, you know the truths. Ancient ones await behind the doors of the mind. Right? So if you're having a hard time connecting to Spirit, it's because you're not connecting to yourself. And something's out of alignment in your world. It could be people, it could be places, it could be things, but there's just something out of alignment. However, listen, good news is on the way. It's clearing away. And if you were drawn to any of the other readings before this, I highly recommend you go and check them out. And as you already saw when you clicked on this link, the title is Intuition. This is the 4th reading, Intuition, but it was the sound of music. And this one, I realized that I didn't say anything in reading 1 or reading 2 about their song titles or whatever, but I thought it was really interesting that they had me write them down, but I didn't say anything about them. And then I did in reading 3, and then for you, I made sure I was like, what's the song for reading 4? So it was interesting because reading 1 was meeting the Book of Secrets, and reading 2 was feeling one last goodbye. So if either of those ping with you, maybe you didn't see it when you went into the box, but if that means anything to you. But the Book of Secrets was really cool because it was from Lorena, I think that's how you say her name, McKinnett, from her album, The Book of Secrets. And so I feel like maybe there's something in there for one of you guys, or maybe your third eye is, will ping if any of these things I'm saying will come to you, and then you're drawn to go look at another reading. And then, like I said, the second one was One Last Goodbye, and then 2 was feeling, one last goodbye. 3, silence, no light, no light. And that was from Florence and the Machine. No light in her bright blue eyes. I never knew anything could be so violent. Or sorry, a thought could be violent or something. Or words could be violent. But yeah, so if you're drawn to any of that. And then intuition, the sound of music. So I'm getting for you guys, music is a big deal for you on all levels. Either you already know this and this just a little wink wink from Spirit. If not, also right after this, it was a meditation called Healing Waters. So I feel like for some of you, that's a sign for you to get close to water, to find your intuition, because right, that's all the water signs, like the moon, the Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. It's all about the intuition. It's about being connected to that part of you. So, you know, either you are a water sign or there's, you know, spirits like calling to you to work with that. Even though I know we're in Gemini energy of air and the Taurus moon of earth, I feel like for some of you, there's something going on with that. So if that means anything to you, it could just mean that like maybe it would be helpful for you to find that place in your third eye to get those answers would be to listen to some meditations that are water driven, that have like water sounds of some kind, you know, whether it's a river, ocean, whatever, raindrops, whatever floats your boat, whatever feels good to you. But I'm definitely feeling that. And also, let me ask Spirit, do you want to read from this book today? Because I was going to say, we haven't read from this book yet, from this deck today, but they said no. So let's see if we have any other cards coming through. Not from that deck. Let's see if we have any Cat Oracle. Ooh. Okay, well, that one was from there. So let's see. Do we have any from the... Ooh, when I looked down, it was 555. Change and transformation. Change and transformation. Also, it's really... I mean, obviously, it's the cat deck, so there's going to be animals on it. But I'm hearing for some of you, you need some extra cuddling, some extra snuggling from your furry friends, or you're missing the snuggling from a furry friend. They're saying, then go to a place like, you know... There are actually places where you can go and like hug animals, or like call a friend, or, you know, if you know somebody, be like, can I walk your dog? I just need a hug. I just need to hang out with an animal for a little while. This animal kind of flavor, so to speak, has been coming through with all these readings. Also, if you look really closely on the cat's head, there's an ankh. Or no, that's the divine feminine energy. It'll look like an ankh, so take it for what it is. But look at that wild, dark fairy. So there's some energy there. They're not having me pull out the card. They just wanted me to show that to you. So let's see what we have from... Do we have any messages from... I feel I'm being pulled to the tarot right now. Do you have any... Oh, wow. I felt this one right away. The Six of Coins. They're not having me bring any light in. So I'll try and get in here as good as I can with the natural light. Okay, so the Six of Coins. Also beautiful that in real time, it's strawberry season where I live. They look like strawberries to me. So we have the Six of Coins. They asked me to put it to the right, so I'm going to leave that there. And then I'm going to go through some of these other cards right now, because I feel like we've been doing that with some of the other readings too, where they're kind of telling a story and painting a picture. I definitely feel like we need one more card, Spirit. So do we want anything from the... Ooh, okay. That flew out. The Sustainer, number 24. I would apologize for the lighting, but I don't feel like they want me to... The Sustainer. See those hands on a ball of clay? Also, look how these are like kind of like torn through. Are you this... number 24... 24 came up in one of the other readings too. I don't remember which one it is now, but if you were drawn to one of the other readings, I know 24 came in and we spoke about it because we were talking about derivatives of 3, 6, and 9. So, okay. Interesting. The Sustainer. Any more cards, Spirit? I do feel like this almost feels, if I can be so bold, Spirit, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is like past, present, and future. I feel like you've been the Sustainer over here, and now you're like moving into the Six of Coins, you know, which is also the Pentacles. And interesting that we're in Earth energy with that. So let me sit with Spirit. Do we want to read from this? Do we want to read from the Sustainer first? Yeah, I kind of felt that because I feel like, you know, so many of us are going through this right now with the past, present, and future thing. You know, I mean, it's just natural. We're all going through it, everybody, because we're in New Earth and we cannot bring this old energy with us. Is that 26? Oh, no, it's 24. 24. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah, the Sustainer. Now, in this Archetypes book, I haven't used this deck in so long. I was kind of excited to use it. But in this deck, there are 4 quadrants of this 78 card deck. We have the selves, which is like, you know, the mother, the maiden, the, you know, whatever. Then we have the places, the heart, the river. Then we have the tools, the tear, the flame, the gem, and the initiations, you know, which are all Thanatos and, you know, Eros and all that. Okay, so You are in the first quadrant of the self, and this is your past. I feel like this is your past self trying to speak to you. Okay, so 24 is the sustainer. It's also on page 109, so you may want to look up. I saw 109 as a, oh gosh, my throat is so tight, you guys. Speak your truth, it hurts. Release the Kraken, release it. 109 is an actual angel number for you guys. 0 does have a placement there, but if you take away the 0, it is 1 before 9. So I feel like this is like you're almost here, you know what I mean? But it's like you got to let go of that one thing, like 109, like the 0 is in the way, like there's like a 0, like the circle of the card. It's like there's something like holding you back. So let's see what this says. The peacemaker, the upholder, the preserver. There's peace signs all over this page too. So it says the sustainer, the second archetype in the trio of existence. This trio of existence works behind the scenes, tending to the tasks of life. They cultivate gardens, they pay the bills, they keep the meals warm, and the mouth sweetly fed. The sustainer is at peace in the process of life, knowing there is no start or finish to humble yet meaningful tasks. So I want to speak about that right now, because I feel like some of you feel like you're in this like loop, like you're not going anywhere. Even look at like above the intuition. It's like she's wearing like, you know, I mean, you can look at that so many different ways. Like it kind of looks like she's wearing a cape. It kind of looks like she's wearing a headpiece, you know, but there's a moon behind her. You know, if we come in here and you look closely, see how there's a break in color? Hold on. You know, my phone, I still need to get a new phone. I'm so sorry. I have to hit like all different places before I can get it to zone in. Okay, but do you see this? How the moon's behind her and it's dark, but it's like this could be her hair. It could be, you know, whatever you want to look at it. But even just like the shape of this, it's like a teardrop. So they just wanted me to bring that. It's going to come into the whole picture. Okay. I'm like, what are they talking about? Sometimes I'm like you. I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying, but I'm just going with the flow. But it's like that never ending, right? Like the shape of the moon. And over here too. Thank you, Spirit. Back here. That feels more like a sun to me, but also just like the circular, it's almost like these repetitive patterns that keep happening over and over and over. And oh, see now my throat's starting to, yeah, because you got to break the, you know, like the voice, you got to break the habit. Also for some of you, the sound of music is like using your voice. Like maybe you're meant to use your voice in a different way, with music, without music. Maybe you're wanting, maybe your intuition is telling you to do like meditations, you know, and so you need music to do the meditations. There's actually a lot of software out there. Something came into my orbit lately and it would not stop. So I swear this message is for you. But I didn't even realize this, but there are software and apps, excuse me, sorry I had to move that, that you can purchase, and they're not very expensive, where you can buy music to actually put behind your meditations, or you can create your own. You can get to like a keyboard or synthesizer or something where you can record it if you have the means to do that, and you can make your own, you know. So there's that. But then also I'm feeling for some of you like singing, you know, maybe you want to do vocal coaching or some type of breath work, or, you know, whatever's calling to your soul. Like what's calling to your soul. And remember, we have things that we do here that we don't get paid for. Like, you know, you get paid, but you get paid in other ways. You know what I mean? Like you pray for that new home, or you pray for that new car, that new job, or whatever it is, and it shows up for you. Right? It's not actual. It's not like somebody came to you and said, here's your new job. You're going to make $48,000 a year. Here's $48,000, you know, right? No, but you have that job. So you have the ability to make the money that you need. You know what I mean? It's all in the way you look at it. So, I feel like for some of you, you've been the sustainer, the same shit, different day, in and out. I know I had a breakdown recently about this, because I'm like, I'm going to lose my noggin, Spirit. But Spirit said, can you start looking at it as like just like everybody has to do these things every day. You just have to do them in a different way. Maybe you can find a way, you know. So I like reached out to my partner and I was like, hey, can you help me a little bit more with this? When he's working a lot, I don't, because he's like physical. But when he's home, I'm like, hey man, can you help me more with this? So I feel like for some of you, like you're trying to take on all of the tasks, paying the bills and doing the cooking and doing the garden. It's like, and I feel like for some of you, you have jobs too and children. That's superhero shit right there. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That's superhero shit. I don't do that stuff all day long. Yeah, I work with Spirit. Yeah, I work with people and I help people. But like, that's why I don't have kids, because I couldn't do kids and all that. But some of you can. Some of you have those gifts. But are you taking care of yourself? Because here you are. You're still not in the shape you want to be. You're just a blob of clay. You're not in the mental, physical, emotional shape that you want to be in. to, you know, get here. Like, I feel like some of you, your intuition and your third eye is clogged because there's just too much outer shit. So, you know, go in there. Spring, fall, whatever, we have both in this beautiful tribe family. We have southern and northern hemisphere. So, but do another spring cleaning. You know what I mean? Even if you did one, or fall cleaning, like, go through everything. Take a few days. Take a little bite at a time. Maybe you do go through your kitchen. Go through each drawer. You know what I mean? Maybe just take on 3 drawers a night. And then, like, the next few days, like, you know, go through your closet. But just start getting rid of stuff. Donate what is good, you know, discard of what is not, right? And if you have an emotional attachment to it, if you haven't used it in a year, or it's not something, you know, I actually did that with Spirit. Spirit had me throw away cards from, like, my grandparents, where I was like, no, I'm like, that was my grandma and she's dead, you know, and they're like, you talk to her all the time on the other side. It's a piece of paper. I'm like, yeah, but it's her writing. And then they, like, reminded me of all these other things I have of hers that were given to me that have her writing. You know, and I'm like, yeah, but that's a card. They're like, you know how she feels about you. Like, right? It gets to a point where it's like, how much is too much? And what are we attached to? And Taurus, this energy, this moon energy Taurus is very much about attachment, material things, wealth, home. So it could be for, you know, and also Jupiter just went into Taurus for the next year. That's all we're going to be focusing on is ourselves, our relationships, our homes, our comfort, our creature comforts, what feels good. So, you know, take this time. I know one of our tribe members had asked if we would do a reading for the tribe about what's going to happen for the rest of the year, but I feel like there's something that's going to go in with that. I still haven't, it hasn't come to me yet with Spirit, but it'll come when it's time. But anyway, so, you know, it may be, you know, because if you're like me, like I feel the most at peace is when my house is clean. I will stay up until 1 in the morning to make my house clean so that when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to do anything but, like, you know, my regular morning duties. I don't have to add stuff on top of it because I don't have a dishwasher. I live off the grid, so I have to heat up the water to do my dishes. Like, and so instead of letting it overtake me and overwhelm me, which it was doing, I started to, 1, reach out to my partner for help, and also, you know, just be like, does this, you know, what's the most important thing? What really makes me feel better? And I was like, just a clean kitchen. I can deal with a messy bedroom. I can deal with a messy living room, and, you know, 2 humans and a cat living in, you know, this RV, 35 by 10 foot space. But what I need is a clean kitchen. I need to wash my hands in the morning when I wake up and put fresh water on my face. Like, that's me. What do you need? What do you need in the morning every day? Like, what is it that you need to help clear the clutter away from your third eye so that you can bring that peace and comfort back into your life? It's very important, Spirit is saying, to bring peace into your life because it's a process of life. And knowing that there's no start or finish to humble yet meaningful tasks, right? Even like getting gas, stuff like that. Like, it can feel monotonous after a while. So it says they have a natural inclination to nourish others, the sustainers. To archive and to preserve Earth's resources, to consider environmental impact, to see their role in the divine cycle of life. It's common for the sustainer to become overworked, leading to resentment. Their tasks aren't glamorous, and therefore the sustainer rarely receives the credit or attention, right? Mothers, fathers, right? The parents who are doing all the work, right? And the other parent maybe not being as strong, or partner, or your boss, or, you know what I mean? Your parents, whatever the situation, insert your story, right? The non-glamorous tasks. Who's cleaning up the shit, right? It's like, oh, I want a dog. I want a dog. Well, you got to clean up after the dog shit. You got to do that. You got to do it. Somebody's got to do it, right? So it says the sustainer longs to hold things in place so badly, especially relationships, that they resist necessary change. Take time with this archetype. It is within us all and needs our love. Because when we are in light with this energy of the sustainer, we are abundant, we are generous, and we're supportive, and we're reliable because we're good. Everything's good in our lives. But when we're in dark, right, when we're overwhelmed, when we're giving too much, we're being the peacemaker, we're being the upholder, we're being the life preserver for everybody's bullshit and their emotions, then we're overworked. We're resentful. We feel trapped. We're tired. We're like, get me out of here. This doesn't feel right to me. Right? So to go deeper, work with Lakshmi, Vishnu, and Demeter. Okay, those are the 3 deities to work with. Lakshmi, L-A-K-S-H-M-I, Vishnu, V-I-S-H-N-U, and Demeter, or Demeter, however you want to say it, D-E-M-E-T-E-R. Interesting that they're different gods from different energy sources. Okay, or I should say cultural backgrounds. So it says, take note of the difference between maintaining and sustaining, right? Like, I don't have to sustain the whole house. That's what I was doing. I was trying to clean it. It was just overwhelming. And I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this. I'm feeling really overwhelmed and blah, 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 you know? And so he was like, okay, how can we maintain this? And you know what? He was so cute that like on our anniversary, just recently, I woke up, we had the most magical day, and I went to bed late as usual. And he went to bed early, but when I woke up the next day after anniversary, he had like done all the dishes and cleaned the kitchen because we went to bed late and we'd been driving all day. We went on vacation and then we came back, and I had like I had done all the food for the day and everything, and then like made dinner when we came home, and I was like, I'll do the dishes in the morning. And he did the dishes. I was like, dude. And it was just that little thing where I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, hallelujah. And not like that. He does stuff all the time, but I'm just saying, like, it was just like, I don't have to do anything this morning. It was such a great thing. It's the little things. It's the little things, right? Putting somebody's boots, you know, by the door so that, you know, or making sure their keys, you make a bowl because they're always losing their keys. Be like, hey, I'm going to put this bowl here every day. Just make it a habit. Put your keys there. They're nowhere else. That's the only place the keys live, you know? And then it's like, boom, that's one thing where you're not wasting 10 minutes trying to help somebody find their keys because you have to be the sustainer because they're not taking care of themselves. Do you hear me? You feel me? Right? So the last one is contemplate what truly sustains you. Make a list. Notice how simple yet powerful those things are and spend some time tending to them. Yeah, like what makes you happy? Are you that person that's like, oh, I can't wait to have my hot beverage in the morning and sit outside and watch the sunset? Some people are early to rise, right? Early to bed, early to rise. And some people are like, oh, I can't wait till like everybody goes to bed and it's quiet and I'm going to get my hot beverage or my cold beverage or whatever you're going to get and sit outside and watch the moon. You know, is it something, even the simple things? That connects us to our intuition. I'm going to go for a walk. Hey, can you do this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go for a walk. You know, I remember this too. From my first marriage, we had 2 dogs and I didn't mind walking them together, but it could be really overwhelming because one of them was a wolf dog. She was a wolf breed. She was a Japanese Akita, and she was 76 pounds of full muscle. And, you know, it's like sometimes when she was leading the way, she didn't like other dogs. It would be, I feel like my arms were getting yanked out of my socket. And you know, finally I had to say to my ex-husband, I'm like, will you please walk with me? I can't walk both of them by myself. It's too hard. The other one is 45 pounds, but, you know, it was hard. And you know what? It changed everything about our relationship. We started having these nightly walks together and walking the dogs, and it changed our relationship. And when our relationship was dwindling, you know, years later, our marriage was like ending. It was kind of back to the same thing. We only had one dog. Our other dog died. And I was the one walking. And I said, because I'd say, oh, I'm going for a walk. And he's like, well, bring the dog. And I'm like, I just want to go for a walk. I don't want to bring the dog. And he's like, well, that's kind of, you know, messed up. And I'm like, you fucking walker. You know, I'm like, no, I just want to go for a walk, like a power walk. I want to be on my own. I don't want to like have to her tugging me this way or that way. 2244 angel number. You know what I mean? And that's when I started to realize like our relationship was breaking up because he didn't even care about my happiness. I mean, I love him. He's, you know, he's good where he is now. He's happy. He's remarried. I'm remarried. We're happy people, you know. But that's when I started to realize that things were dwindling. He didn't care about my happiness. And I was like, no, dude, I need that. I need to put my fucking music in my earbobs and walk for like 20 minutes to a half an hour with no one talking to me, no one there. You know, I'm like, just how is that? Like, why don't you understand that? You know? And we need to have those people in our lives because it is not our job to be the sustainer of somebody else. It is your job to live your life the way you want to live it and no other way. So, you know, you don't have to, you know, obviously children, they can't fend for themselves. But when it comes to like grown adults, yes, they need to be their own sustainer. They need to put on their own oxygen mask in order for you to really hone your intuition and get back on track with your gifts. Because I feel like for some of you, you're like, I feel like I've like lost myself. You probably have because you're giving too much of yourself to other people. So also, I can't help but see like there's like a crystal ball in front of her too. And it's almost like she doesn't even like she's so connected that she doesn't even need to look at the crystal ball, right? Like she's like so in it, like her third eye is doing all the work for her. She doesn't even need the oracle deck. She doesn't need all of these things, you know. And I feel like that's for you guys too. You know, you won't need to worry so much or concern yourself so much when you're finally like where you're supposed to be. But for now, it's about taking the baby steps, right? Let me ask Spirit, do we want to read the intuition card from the book? Because I was like, it's in the middle. Okay, so moving on to the 6 of coins, which are also the pentacles. And I'm feeling this need to kind of go in. Yeah, here we go. Also, I feel like this is like, see how the T isn't in there, but I saw he. I feel like he, sustainer. This feels like a masculine energy for some of you too, that are like kind of keeping you down. And maybe they tried to mold you into something or some clay, or maybe you were with someone for a long time. Maybe it's your father, or it could be, you know, a relationship that feels like a father figure kind of thing. But I feel like, you know, you're like, oh, but they've always been there for me. And Spirit's like, have you though? Have they though? Like, have they? Or they only been there for you when it's like what works for them, but not really what works for you. Interesting, right? Okay, so it says the Six of Coins suggests the sharing of wealth and putting your money where your mouth is. Resources are exchanged to benefit the greater good, and kindness is rewarded. Money is bequeathed in a manner that is motivated by generosity instead of profit. You're experiencing a moment wherein wealth is leveraged for positive ends. This is the card of philanthropy. Now, they asked me to read it in reverse. In the reverse, it says, in this position, the card warns of empty charity masquerading as kindness. So right out the gate, exactly. You know, if you give, you do receive. But if you're giving to get something back, you have to remember that, like, everybody's watching. There's nothing you're doing that, like, Spirit, all the guides, whatever you want to say, the other side, however you want to put it, like, all the people that are, like, helping us along, in charge of, you know, keeping our shit straight, whatever, our higher self, whatever you want to call it, God, Goddess, you know, Mother, Father, Creator, right? All of the above. They are watching everything we do. So, you know, it's like, are you that person that makes food for everybody, but you give yourself the best and you like whatever? That's cool. It's okay to give yourself the best sometimes. But also, I notice that, like, when I, like, give more, I do receive more. And it's always more than I even asked for. So if you're going to be giving and you want to do something in philanthropy, remember that it's because, you know, and the readings that we've been getting from Spirit lately is the Dr. Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra. How may I serve? How may I help? And always ask yourself these questions before you're, like, going into something. And each morning we've been doing this meditation exercise, and I really urge you to do it as well. Each morning for the next 7 days, or even you can do it at night. If you feel like you're the most quieted and the most settled at night, then do it at night before you fall asleep, because when you wake up in the morning, you can get the answers too. But just in your most quiet, most stillness time, you're in bed, nothing else needs to happen. Everything's fine. You don't have to do anything. You're in bed. The world will wait until you have your beautiful slumber. But lay there and clear your mind. Picture a blackboard with nothing on it and say, how may I serve, Spirit? How can I help? How can I serve? Whatever languaging you want to put it in. But in that way, Spirit will show you. And they will say, because you have an innate gift. Each one of us has a purpose. We have a gift. We're all here like a big puzzle. And we need you to be the puzzle piece that you came here to be, not a distorted puzzle piece that somebody created of you to fit into their story, to fit into their mold, to do their bidding, to make them happy. And I'm feeling a very strong divine masculine energy pulling this down, pulling your energy down. So it's very interesting. Okay, so it says, your generosity is motivated by an expectation of gratitude, which it does not often yield. As a result, you find yourself retreating into a miserly place. You feel like your goodwill and generosity have been wasted. You would like your words to yield treasures, but everything you say rings like the hollow croak of a toad. Listen, this part, you feel like your goodwill and generosity have been wasted? No. There have been times where I will yell at Spirit and I'm like, I barely make anything. I mean, there was a time where I was getting money all the time from doing readings or, like, doing these readings for you guys. I would get donations, you know, here and there. Now it's like, I hardly ever see them. But at the same time, I'm so blessed for all these other things that come into my life. And my husband's been doing really, really well. And, like, it's been giving me time to, like, concentrate on these things for you guys. And I know that, like, I am putting in the time, you know. I was looking at it from third dimensional, like, where's my money? Like, I'm putting all this out there. How come people don't donate more? They don't give more. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I do so much for people. Like, what the fuck? Like, when's it my turn? And Spirit was like, no. You are getting it back in spades. You just aren't seeing it yet, right? So sometimes the things that we're putting out into the world, they are going to come back to us, but it's like a savings account. Because look, there's still a roof over my head. There's still food in my belly. There's gas in our car. You know what I mean? Like, we are blessed. We are absolutely blessed. And my husband loves what he does. He loves me. He loves Bubba. Like, he loves our family. He loves our life. And there were many, many, many moons that I worked very hard to sustain us. And now he is the sustainer. And he has days where he's like, oh, I feel like I'm working. I'm like, then don't put that much into it. And when he backs off and he gives himself time to rest, every time he does, he goes back in, and boy, he's blessed with like another thing. So, it's like, it's all in the way you look at it. Abundance isn't always money. And I know money makes the world go round right now, but it isn't always going to, and it didn't always before. There were trade, there were things, and, we provide community, things like that. So, look at, she's abundant. Her berries have come in. Her money is flowing in. It's like she's got her besom, she's got her broom, like she's there, but also she's looking down and she's too focused on the money. And when we focus too much on it, that's when it starts to, like we're saying that we don't have any. We're telling the spirit, we're telling the universe and the energetic spirit of life that we don't have it. And so it won't show up. You have to keep drawing it, putting in pictures on your altar, writing on Post-its, affirmations every day. Stay in that high vibration. In some of the other readings, we talked about this. I'm on the highway. I want to ride it all night long. You need to get to that high vibration to stay on the highway of vibration so those good things come to you. If you're too focused on your money, it's not going to come. This whole month, this whole moon cycle, this Taurus moon cycle, Spirit spoke of it throughout today, that we are going to be focusing on if your mission, should you choose to accept it, and if you're ready to like do these affirmations, do these things for this next moon cycle, bring that Taurus energy to you. Just because we're out of the Taurus astrological sign, we're in the Taurus moon now. And the Jupiter is in Taurus, and Jupiter's the biggest planet, and it's about abundance, and it's about rewards and good fortune. It's about home and hearth and all the beautiful things of the Taurian energy and getting connected to ourselves and our soul and our intuition, as above, so below, right? Connecting to the earth, but also connecting to the stars. So you can focus on your money, but if you focus on it in a negative way, it's going to keep falling instead of, growing. But if you let it go, it's going to come back to you, and it's going to grow in abundance. See how this flower is telling us that flower is going to turn to fruit. When you see flowers on a plant like that, every single flower is a piece of fruit. And Spirit wants you to start looking at your life like a flower, like a piece of fruit that's coming to you. But it takes time, and you have to cultivate it, and you have to plant the seeds. And in order for you to know which direction and which way to go and what intentions to set for this moon cycle, it's really about connecting to your intuition. And if that's the only thing you do this whole moon cycle, you are rich. You are wealthy, because you will know what to do. And Spirit will leave the breadcrumbs, and you'll know. And listen to the sound of music. There are messages everywhere. Sometimes you look down at the song and it's the numbers, right? It's like the song's at 314 at the song. And it's like, oh my gosh, 314. That's my number. You know what I mean? There are literally signs everywhere. And that's what Spirit is trying to remind you of. To use your intuition. You are no longer the sustainer. You are in flux. But in order to get to this abundance, you got to get out of the flux and get to the abundance, because it's calling for you. It's like it wants to be there. It wants to be there, because in the upright position, it says it's the sharing of wealth and putting your money where your mouth is. So resources are exchanged to benefit the greater good, and kindness is rewarded. Money is bequeathed in a manner that is motivated by generosity instead of profit. You're experiencing a moment wherein wealth is leveraged for positive ends. This is the card of philanthropy. Be the philanthropist, 3323. Be the philanthropist. And if you don't know what that word means, go look it up. Because that's what a philanthropist is. It's somebody who wants to do good because they want to do good. When I looked down, it was 3333. So maybe reading 3, you need to go look at, right? It's for doing good, not for getting something back. I have a few more seconds. I love you so much. Until next time, this is your reading. Take good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh, bye.